Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the May 2023 Plugin Roundup here on iThemes Training. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the host at iThemes Training, which will become, at some point in the near future, Solid Academy. So if you have missed the news so far, iThemes is rebranding as Solid WP. If you're just joining us in the chat, I'm going to drop in a bunch of links. And at the bottom of that link bundle, you will see the links to solidwp.com. Where you can stay up to date with the rebrand and public process that Solid is in the middle of, as well as the Solid YouTube channel, where it's really the best place to find the most updates. So there's a few really interesting things that have dropped on the YouTube channel lately. And if you are interested in what's going on with Solid, follow that, because there's a good discussion of Solid security and the work that's being done there to relaunch iThemes security, as well as some of the branding questions and so forth. So really, really cool stuff. Phoebe, that's right. I am working really hard to remove the term webinar from my vocabulary. I've been using it for 10 plus years here on iThemes Training. We're live streams, right? These are training live streams, and we have a lot of fun with that. Okay, so it is Plugin Roundup. This is, if you're just joining us in Zoom, I just dropped in the chat a link to download today's plugin list, which looks like this right here. And I always like to remind everybody at the beginning of the Plugin Roundup that these are not thoroughly tested plugins. These are plugins that have been added to or updated in the WordPress plugin directory in roughly the last month or so that we just simply thought were interesting. And we mostly means Chris and I. So Chris is here in the chat. Everybody say hi to Chris. He does a lot of hard work helping to prepare for the Roundup every month. And we just think these are interesting and they're worth a look. You'll want to thoroughly test these for compatibility and accessibility and all of those things before you start to use these on client sites, of course. All right, let's get started, shall we? We're going to be doing our work as usual over here on wpnathan.com. Let me move some windows around here. And we're going to start with a pretty useful plugin, I think, called Easy Featured Image Manager. And let's get that activated. So Easy Featured Image Manager. One of the things that I think could be better about the WordPress admin area is bringing featured images into the post list and page list, because a lot of times it's easier to pick out a post from a long list when you have something visual there to cue you. And so if that is the case for you, this is a plugin that sort of does that. So right here, it brings a featured image into the post list. Now, these columns have gotten really skinny, and so I usually like to go in and maybe turn off tags and turn off these Yoast items here. All right, so that makes it a little better. All right, so we have our featured images. Like here's one that doesn't have a featured image, which is interesting. And so let's say we want to go and add a quick featured image here. Now, the regular way in WordPress is, of course, open up the post, go down to featured image, add the image, publish the post again, right? Or update the post. Here, we can simply go into quick edit and click change image, and we get the media library modal, and we can set a featured image. And that's interesting. That didn't happen before. I wonder if there's something weird about that image. Well, look at that. Failure right out of the gate. This did not happen when we were testing it. Isn't that weird? So if you're new to Plugin Roundup, sometimes this does happen. This is really interesting. Try another image. Maybe there's just something odd. No, something is going on here. Look at that. Well, very interesting. All right. Yeah, this was literally working yesterday. So maybe did we drop an update? Welcome to live demo on iThemes Training. Did we drop an update? No, 2 weeks ago. Look at that. I wonder if maybe there's some sort of plugin conflict that's happening, because it was absolutely working yesterday when we tested this. Oh, here's something with media library. Let's deactivate that one. Maybe those plugins are bumping heads. I can't imagine that would be the case, but if this doesn't work, we'll move on. But isn't that weird? No, there's a problem, and I don't know what it is. It's likely a conflict of some sort. So there you go. I still like this plugin. I'm not sure why it's not working right now, because it was working delightfully yesterday, where you could just select the featured image right there in the post list. It's really helpful if you want to just skim your post and see if any are missing a featured image. You can do that right there in the list, and yeah, quickly assign the featured image. Very, very interesting. Yeah, we've done a number of these featured image type plugins, but this was one that just lets you deal with it right there in the list. So, all right, let's move on to the next one, shall we? And pretend like that never happened. All right, the next one is a plugin called Text. Oh, Elizabeth, try it on a different post. Elizabeth is smart. Shall we try that one? Let's try this image. No, it's broke. Good idea, though, Elizabeth. Something's wrong. It's likely it's a conflict of some sort. I just don't know what with, because this absolutely was working. Okay, so let's move to text replacer, shall we? Let's go down and deactivate this plugin and make it like it never happened. Yeah. All right. So text replacer. This is a really cool plugin because let's say, for example, you have something on your website. Let's just say, for example, you've been doing training on WordPress for a really long time. And for 10 plus years, you've called these things webinars. And all of a sudden, they now need to be called live streams, just hypothetically, right? How do you go through your website and make all those updates? Well, you know, if you're a developer, you know, you could go into a plugin like Better Search Replace or something like that, and actually in the database, search and replace, find that term, and so forth. If you have a client, though, that, you know, this is not something you want a client to do, but maybe they have an event date or something like that that's all throughout the website, and they want to be able to update that very easily. Well, this is a plugin that will let someone from a very simple interface within the WordPress admin area, it would allow them to make that a quick text replace on the front end. So let's activate text replacer. Now, there is one little thing about this plugin. This does sometimes happen with these brand new plugins where the developer pushes out a sort of a proof of concept. And you have that here where there is just one currently. Replace this text with this text. It does appear, based on screenshots and so forth on the plugin page, that there will be more options here, you know, add additional things to replace. So we've asked the developer about that. No response to that yet, but here's how easy this is. So let's just say on the front end of the site, we have this Peter Parker is revealed as Tony Stark's son in a shocking twist. So what I was playing with yesterday was, let's replace Peter Parker with Dwight K. Schrute, shall we? And we'll just save the changes. And now everywhere on the site where Peter Parker shows up in the text, it's going to automatically replace it on the page with Dwight K. Schrute. It's a simple JavaScript jQuery function that as the page loads, it just does a quick search and replace and updates your text. So it's pretty cool for, you know, a client, for example, that may have some dates to update or a term to update or something like this. Give them a very simple interface on the back end of the site to make this change. And yeah, there it is. Sue is asking, it's text only. It doesn't change a function. Correct. So it's just find this text and replace it with this. And Vern, yes, this is not a database change because no, this is just running like a jQuery, simple search, find and replace. You know, you could do that if you made your own jQuery code, you could do this, but this is just gives you a nice little interface inside the WP admin to do exactly this. And I think there's some strong use cases for this. I think I would like to see more text replace lines in place. And that does look like it is coming from the developer, but super simple way for a client to mass update text throughout a site. Yeah. Sue says, I'd like to see it choose whole words or match case. Great example. Put a request into the developer on the plugin page. I think that's a really good suggestion. So that is called Text Replacer. Any other questions and comment? Oh, Elizabeth, can you go back and do another? Yeah. Let's just say we want to change this to, this is all dynamic, right? So it's just whatever's here is what's going to happen. So Peter Parker will make it say Elizabeth Wood. All right, this is going to be awkward on the homepage, but there you go. It just, whatever's there in the settings is what, as the page loads, that's what happens, right? So if we take it out completely, then it just goes back to what's actually in the database. So it doesn't, Elizabeth. Yeah, so, it doesn't change anything in the database. It's only changing the text as the page renders. So it's really helpful. So maybe it's a temporary thing, right? Sally, if you delete the plugin, does the text revert? Yeah, exactly. Just like when we deleted that line, it went back. Yeah, so if you deactivate the plugin or whatever, there's nothing there now that's telling, as WordPress loads a page, there's nothing telling WordPress to search for this text and update it with this text. Yeah. So there you go. All right, that is text replacer. Any further questions or comments? Pretty cool, pretty useful. I would like to see more fields, but I think that's coming. All right, next up is a plugin called Automatic TOC, Table of Contents. So this is a really helpful plugin if you are either not using cadence blocks or you are, you're not using the block editor at all. And so this is a plugin that will look at your page and pick out all the heading tags and create a hierarchical table of contents that's clickable to that heading on the page. And it's dynamic. It happens automatically. It's very cool. Now there's a cadence blocks. It's a table of contents block that does exactly the same thing as this. I think actually a little better. But if you're not using cadence or if you're not using block editor yet, this is a way that does that same thing with a simple short code called TOC. So let's activate automatic table of contents. Yeah, like Stacy, you're saying you don't use blocks yet. Awesome. So this is super helpful for that. So I have a demo page set up. And right here under automatic TOC. All right. So over here, well, I have both actually. I'm going to remove this cadence block because I was playing around with that just to show an example. All right. So over here, we have a, not sure why this is showing in code, but we have just some simple text. There's heading tags, hierarchical headings, H4s, H3s, starting out with an H2. And then over here in this column, we simply have a short code block with TOC. Doesn't have to be a block. If you're using classic editor, you can, just use a short code. It just anything, any place you can use a short code, you can use this. If you're using an old school theme and it has like the old school sidebar and you've got a widget, you just drop the widget in there with a short code and it'll work just like that. So that's the deal. Let me show you what this looks like once it's rendered. And again, we've done nothing here at all other than add the short code TOC. And here's what this renders. Yeah, like I said, Stacy, this is a block because we're using the block editor on this site, but it's just a short code. Like anywhere you could put a short code, you can put this. It could be right at the top of the post content if you wanted it to be. So here's our nice little table of contents. And it's hierarchical. And now notice the bullets are the same. That's just the CSS of this theme. You could change that to, if you want your bullets to be a little different or your indenting to be less. This is all tweakable. But notice it just pulls it straight out of the page. So let's say we want to jump down to weight management and it smoothly scrolls right down. Sue is asking, is there a way only to get, for example, H2s? That's a great question. Let's take a look because I don't know the answer to that question. How to exclude headings. Let's see. It would be great if we had more. Oh, you can exclude specific headings. Let's see if there's anything that's going to allow us to, for example, only show H2s. Well, this is going to be. Okay, they got a bunch of plugins. I don't see anything right off the bat, Sue, that says it's going to do that. Now, this is one of the benefits of using, for example, the cadence table of contents. So if we want to add another block here and go to table of contents, the cadence block, then here you can say, I only want the H2s. And we can we can go here to this block and, well, let's just leave it for now. And we'll be able to see the cadence block right below it. So here's the one that was rendered with our short code. And here is just the H2s on the page. So that is automatic TOC, table of contents. You got a couple of options there. If you're using cadence block is a little better, I think. All right. Any other questions or comments on that one? All right, let's move into a WooCommerce plugin. This one I think can be very, very helpful because sometimes you have a WooCommerce store where there might be a product or two where you don't want to apply a coupon discount, for example. Like maybe you have created a coupon code that's good for $10 off any purchase, but maybe you've got some products that you just don't want that to apply to. That's a really difficult scenario to manage, especially if you have, lots of different coupons. So if we go down here under WooCommerce marketing to coupons, and we take a look at a coupon here, you absolutely can in core WooCommerce go through and remove a product from that particular coupon. And for some reason, this has taken 8 years to load. Okay. This is just core WooCommerce right now. Usage restrictions. We can exclude certain products from this coupon working. Now, if you only have one coupon, it's not a big deal. But what if you have, for example, here's a scenario. You've got a store, it's been around a long time. There's 50 coupon codes out there. And you add a product that you don't want any coupons to apply to. Well, now you have to go through every single coupon code and exclude that product. And that is really annoying. So what this plugin I'm about to activate does is kind of goes from the other direction and lets you on that one product that does not need discounting, you can check the box and say, don't apply any coupon codes to this product. And that is called disable coupons at the product level. So let's go to that plugin and activate it. As we learn quite frequently here on the plugin roundup, activating the plugin is really important in order to get it to work. So here is our coupon is active. Now let's go to a product. And let's just say here that the Iron Man gauntlets, for whatever reason, we can't discount those, cost of goods sold, or whatever reason. So down here, look, there's now a new option here on the product data called coupon options. Boom, display coupons on this or disable coupons on this product, which means no matter what, no matter the coupon, even if the coupon applies to every product in the store, it doesn't apply to this one. It'll apply to everything else in the cart, but just not this product. So this is a really helpful way. If you get into a situation with a store, it's going to save you a lot of time of turning on and off coupons for certain products at certain times. Oh my goodness, it can be really complicated. This allows you to disallow that product from all coupons, period, with a single check. Sue is asking, does it mark the product as no coupons? No, but that's something I'd add probably over here in the short description of the product, right? No, something like that. It doesn't mark it that way, but that's something I just drop in, right there. Because likely you won't have a ton of products that are this way, but that'll make it easy. Any other questions or comments on this one? That is pretty straightforward. Disable coupons at the product level. I think it can be really useful if you get into that situation. All right, let us move on to the next one. Okay, y'all. This is Chris's favorite plugin of the Roundup because he, like me, is an old computer geek. And how many of you remember DOS? Anybody else cut their teeth on DOS? DOS 6.2. Like, oh, it was great, right? Elizabeth Edlin, yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, yes. So DOS lovers unite because now you have a DOS dialog block. So those of you on the fence about the block editor, let me just tell you, this may win you over, especially if you're an old geezer like me. Yeah, so let's let's activate the DOS dialog and wait till you see this. I just love this. It's classic DOS. You're going to feel like, just get ready for a blast from the past, y'all, because here it is, the DOS block. Look at that. Does that bring back memories or what? So this is just it's simple text, and you've got a title here. Oh my goodness. So, and you have different options here, an install dialog, an error dialog, the default dialog. The question is, can you bold it? I think so. It's just like text. No. It's got the option here, but I don't think so. And I don't even think, I mean, this is a monospace font, so I don't even know how this would italicize. Oh, look at that. It gives ugly italics. So there's that. It'll do strike through as well, but that's it. That's all you get. So here's what it looks like on the front end. I mean, how can you not like this? All right, there it is on the front end. There's your DOS dialog. Isn't it gorgeous? So yes, this plugin will fill your heart's entire 32 megabytes of free space with joy. You got to love it. For those of you wondering, yes, the developer says a future improvement is blinking text. So, I can't wait, to be honest. There you go. That is the DOS dialog block from Dan Rusko. Thank you, Dan, for that beauty of software engineering. All right, scrolling on down is the next plugin in the list called File Organizer from the Softaculous team. Now, we've done a number of these plugins that bring sort of like an old school Windows 3.1 file manager dialog into the WordPress admin. This is another one. The thing that sets this one apart, it is by Softaculous. So if you're familiar with cPanel and you see Softaculous, they got all these installs, it's the same team. So it's a good development team. And this is a really helpful file manager for WordPress. Some of the file managers that are out there, I mean, we've done 2 or 3 of these over the years on the plugin roundup. And over time, they've pulled some features out, like, for example, editing text. Like, I don't know, like, that's one of the main reasons I would want to have a file manager in WordPress, is to go in and edit a file or upload or compress, zip a file or unzip. They pull those out and put them in a premium version, which really renders the free plugin useless. This one is not that way. It is a fully featured file manager. Now, let me tell you this. This is something that you would use with the following caveats. You do not want to leave this on a site for a long, this is like something, I've got to do some quick work. I don't have FTP access. I can drop this plugin in, do some quick work, and uninstall it. Don't leave it on there, because if someone, gets access to the site, they now have access to the file system, which is not awesome. So make sure, that you want to use it and pull it when you're done. The other thing is, it's you really, really want to, this is the same as like the WordPress file editor for like the theme editor and the plugin editor, where you can actually edit PHP files from within the WordPress admin. Be very careful with that, because if you break something, if you get a semicolon out of place, or you miss a squiggly bracket or one of those things, then, you have a white screen on your WordPress site. And because you were using the WordPress interface to do your editing, you've now lost access to fix it. So that's not great. So just be very careful. Use this sort of thing sparingly. But with all of that said, there are times where I've used plugins like this because there was really no other way around doing what I needed to do because the client didn't have access or whatever. So that was a big intro. Let's talk about website files and activate this plugin, File Organizer from Softaculous. All right, it is now active, and it's right down here under settings. You'll find File Organizer, and this is a blast from the past as well. This is old school file management, but right here, look, you're accessing in the public HTML. That's where you start your access. You have access to all of the WordPress files. So if you needed, for example, to make a WP config tweak, you can, and this is weird. The edit feature they call text area. That's weird. But clicking here, that will actually open the file where you can actually do some editing and save it. So you can do things like that. You can look at your PHP ini. If you need to upload a plugin manually, for example, you can do that here. You can right here. Let's see, upload. Where is upload? It is, oh, you can just drag and drop. Let's just say you want, I've got something here. Let's see, what can I drag and drop? I forgot to get a demo for this. Okay, here's our, well, no, let's see. All right, here's the PDF. If we want to just upload something right here, we can drop it. We'll need to put it down below these folders. Otherwise, it's going to drop it in a folder. We can just drop that right there, and it just drag and drop, upload, and there's today's handout right there. We can delete it. We can also, if we it's highlighted, and we can right here, we can compress it. It's a really hard to read icon, but we could create an archive with this, like a zip archive. And there it is. And then if we want, we can just delete both of these things. So it's pretty helpful to move things around and whatnot. The question was, can you go up a level? No, you cannot. So and it makes sense if you think about it, because this is a WordPress plugin. It only has access to the folder that WordPress starts off in, right? Stacy, does this work if you don't have access to cPanel File Manager? Yeah. This has nothing to do with cPanel. This is a file management interface built into WordPress. That's like why you would want a plugin like this. Just be very careful when you use it. Sue, can you download from here? Sure. Like if I want to grab this index.php, I can, hang on, select, and is it here? Yep, download. So there's like mystery meat navigation up here. You kind of have to wait for a tooltip, but that index.php is now on my desktop. Yep, so you can download and so forth. Pretty helpful. Again, just remember the caveats. Don't leave it on a site. Be very careful about editing PHP files that can break, but pretty helpful and from a good team. So that is File Organizer from Softaculous. Any other questions or comments on that one? Pretty good stuff. All right. Following my own rules, we will now go and deactivate File Organizer and delete File Organizer, because we're not going to leave it on our site at all. Okay. Next up is limit registration by mail domain. Can anybody guess what this plugin does? It's really hard to figure it out. This plugin will actually limit the registration on your website by the email domain. How about that? So why in the world would you use a plugin like this? Let's say that you are building a site for a specific company, and maybe it's an internal site, an LMS or something that only their folks are going to need access to. Wouldn't it be great to limit the people who can register as users on that site to only those that have a specific domain name in their email address? Well, that's exactly what this plugin does. So let's go right here, settings and registration limit by email domain. Pretty simple dialog. You can allow a comma separated list of domains that are allowed to register. If they cannot, if the user as they register doesn't have an email address in the list of domains that are allowed here, they're not able to register. So it's sort of a niche use case. But this is, this is something that I've had a site where we needed something like this, and this would be a great way to do it. So questions or comments on this one? Limit registration by mail domain. Pretty straightforward, right? Now, a couple of caveats with this one. If you're using something other than core WordPress registration, like the way BuddyPress does registration or WooCommerce or something like that, that works outside the core WordPress registration behavior, this plugin isn't going to work. It only affects the core WordPress registration feature. All right. Next on our list is media library file size. Now, this one's pretty helpful. How many of you have taken on a site and you realize there are many things in the WordPress media library? And you're wondering, how big is this? And how many large files, are out there? All right, so this is pretty helpful. Media library file size. Let's activate that. Sue says, is 1,100 considered a lot? Yes, it is. Okay, so the first thing we need to do here, if you haven't guessed already, is we need to click the index media button. So we're going to click it. It's going to tell me there's nothing new because I did this yesterday. There's no files. So let me just reload the page here. Now it knows. Okay, so look what we have here. We have file size column. This is how big the original image is. And look at this. With all of the other image sizes that WordPress created for all the little file sizes, there's 140K for the original image plus an extra 125K for all of the other image sizes it created. Isn't that cool? So not only do you get to see how large the primary image is, it's also going to give you the sum total of all the other image sizes that were created related to that image. That's pretty cool. Now, here's where it gets better because this is sortable. So there's our teeny tiny one. And let's go to the largest. All right. So this image is 4 megabytes with 283K of other. Oh, because it's a GIF. Okay. But 283 K of other image sizes that were created. And so you can see the others right there. Pretty cool. This is really helpful. If you're wondering, where is my server space going? You can add this plugin and just see how many, what the media files are. And this, of course, works for anything in the media library, including PDFs and any audio, video, media type files. If it's in the media library, it's going to show in that file size column how large that is. Ben is asking, does it give you a total media library size? No, it does. I don't believe it does that. Is there a dashboard widget? I don't think so. No. Yeah, so you got it. No, actually, okay. If you are using Backup Buddy, there's a great little tool hidden here under diagnostics that will, it's kind of a browsable dynamic file tree. And we're slow again here. All right. So we go to size maps. If you have Backup Buddy, this is under Backup Buddy, diagnostics, and this interactive graphical directory. Click that, and it's going to give me an interactive file size. So here's the full size of the WordPress site. There's the WP content. Here's my uploads folder. If I click that, it's going to open that up to the different year folders. And I can even browse down to the months. There's nothing under that, so I'll go up a level. So this can let you know, with this is, again, built into Backup Buddy, how big my uploads directory is, for example. That's pretty cool. All right. Dave, I don't think I understand your question. How are you seeing the whole image in your library? Oh, this here? Or what do you mean by whole image in your, oh, this is the media library. And so it gives you the thumbnail. Oh, these are square images. These The reason it's the whole image is these are literally square images. And JJJ laughs. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that is media library file size. Not bad, right? Pretty helpful. Certainly in certain circumstances. All right, let's move down to the next one, which is called Sort Settings Menu. I'm going to call this the plugin that I never thought that I needed before. And really, as I looked at it, I don't need it now. But it solved a problem for me that I've never thought to solve before, which is this. How many of you, like me, are incredibly annoyed that you go into the settings menu and everything is out of order? Like, why are these added down below here, right? Like, why is active campaign postmark way down here? And the reason, by the way, is that when you activate a plugin, all your plugins load and they're adding their settings menus with a priority number. So wouldn't it just be nice to have these alphabetized? Just because why not? That's what this plugin is going to let you do. So let us activate Sort Settings Menu, which does exactly that. All right, activate. Now we look at our settings menu and everything is in alphabetical order. There's one that didn't though. All right, we got one straggler down here that's apparently adding its apparently the sort. This is where it gets a little confusing. And maybe you've seen this in PHP code where there's like a function name and a comma and a number beside it. That's the priority number. And it may be that the iThemes licensing code is injecting after the alphabetizing has run. So we have a priority change there. And that's so it doesn't oftentimes, I don't think it's an uppercase, lowercase thing. It may be, but here's the thing. I look at this and I thought, well, that's really cool. And I really now that I've seen it, I want my settings menu alphabetized, right? Are you like me? Like, yeah, okay, now I can't unsee this. I now must have my settings menu alphabetized. Okay, so, however, I don't want to install a plugin necessarily just for this and just have it sitting here in my plugin list. So let's do this. Let's deactivate Sort Settings Menu. And what I did was I went to ChatGPT and I said, I want some code that will sort my settings menu like this. Here is the ChatGPT thread. I've given you this All right, here we go. Here's my prompt. Create a WordPress function that sorts the items under the settings menu in the WP admin area alphabetically. Boom, there it is. You got to love ChatGPT. Now, by the way, I am using GPT-4. I have a paid account. GPT-4 is much better with code writing than 3.5, which is what's available in the free version. So if you're going to do code creation, use GPT-4. It's so much better. Anyway, so I got this code. That's pretty cool. And then I usually refine it with a statement like this. Act as the WordPress PHP security expert. Analyze this code for total compatibility with 8.2 PHP. Also, identify anything in the code that might conflict with other themes or plugins installed. Prefix the function with BWW, which is Brilliant WebWorks, my company. And identify any potential security issues in the code. And it changed it a little bit and told me what was going on with each of those suggestions. But this code I have now given you as a gist if you want to use it. So let's use this real quick. I'm going to, copy this bit of code, and I'm going to go over here to my snippets plugin. You could also put this in your child theme functions.php or in a custom functions plugin or something like that. Let's create a new snippet. We're going to call it alphabetized settings and just paste in the code, run the snippet really only in the administration area. There's no need to load this on the front end of the site. And we're going to give this a priority of a very low priority. See, that one's set for 999. Let's just match that. That means it's going to load at the very end to hopefully catch like that iThemes thing. So let's save our settings. And now this snippet should be working. Let's look at our settings menu and look at there. Boom, we got iThemes in there now, and it works. Oh, no, it doesn't. Hang on a minute. Oh, no, wait. This code snippets thing gets me every time. Save changes, but I got to activate it. It's like a plugin. Got to activate the code snippet. Now, our settings work. Look at that. iThemes is in order. Everything's in order. Isn't that beautiful? This is now in the custom function stack of our base site, because now that I've seen it, I must have my settings menu alphabetized. Isn't that cool? So I've given you the snippet, and I've given you the ChatGPT thread if you want to play around with stuff like this in the future. So there you go. Isn't that fun? What snippets plugin is that? That's a great question. What do we have installed here? I think it's just WP snippets. It's code snippets from Code Snippets Pro. This one. There's also WP code, I think it's called. I mean, they all do kind of the same thing. Yeah, you could do the same thing with tools, by the way. Does clicking on settings go to general? It should. Yeah. No. Oh, wait. Great call, Paul. Look at that. If you click on settings, it goes to the first link, which is now active, the active campaign postmark. Okay, so just don't. Now, you totally could to ask ChatGPT to make sure that the settings link goes to this general URL. Yeah, just tweak it, right? You could also add code to do the same thing with tools and just have one snippet that does it all. Anyway, so there you go. That's fun, right? Things that I didn't know I needed until now, but now I have to have them. Questions or comments about that? That was a fun little stroll down the AI lane. Okay, moving on down the line to the next plugin, which is not one that I would ever use, but I have it in the Roundup to demonstrate to you one of the first AI blocks that's actually integrated with the block editor and is a sign of things to come when it comes to how AI is going to work in WordPress. Now, this is very, very, very early, okay? Like, this is not going to impress you much at all. But if you have a dev site you like to play around with things on, give this a try, because this is something, this is something that you're going to, I mean, I would say within months, you're going to see much more functional AI content block creators that work like this. So we're just going to open up this page, and the plugin is already active. We did have to go in and create an API key with OpenAI to connect the two, because this is talking to OpenAI. But now we have an AI block. So there's an AI block that this plugin creates, and it's like the ChatGPT interface. And I could say, give me a list of the top 5 most popular Avengers characters. And this is slow, and you can't give a lot, like, it doesn't give you a lot of detail. It's a very small bit of text that can be returned. It's the beginning, but from right here, think about this, right here in the block editor, being able to create and modify, like right now, you can't say, okay, add a description for each one or something like that. It won't do that yet. Maybe it will. Let's see. I didn't try this yesterday. Let's see what it does here. Okay, it just hallucinated. So I don't know what this is about. This is AI hallucinations. So isn't that funny? So I don't know what this is all about, but what it's doing here, it actually created a group for the response with separate paragraph blocks. So it's actually ChatGPT is it speaks Gutenberg now with this plugin. So it's actually pulling the content in from OpenAPI, creating a Gutenberg block for a paragraph, and it's listing things. So again, it's very early, it's very slow, but this is like, I'm going to remind you months from now, hey, do y'all remember that plugin Roundup where we had that really poor, slow AI block, and things are going to be so much better? This is the beginning of many things to come when it comes to WordPress and the block editor. So play around with it if you want to. It is this plugin is definitely not there yet. I would not use, like, it has, I wouldn't be using it a lot, but other than just play around with. Stacy, are the API keys free? Yes. So you can create, this is not, this is different than ChatGPT. So you've got OpenAI, which is the source of all of the machine learning and the artificial intelligence. One of the applications of the GPT protocol, the GPT learning model that OpenAI created is ChatGPT. But there's now you can tap into that model with an API key. And that's where all these apps are coming from and plugins that are using OpenAI, ChatGPT. It's really not specifically ChatGPT, it's OpenAI. It's another interface to OpenAI, like ChatGPT is an interface to OpenAI. So you go to OpenAPI, you set up OpenAI, you set up an account, and you can get an API key. And there is it's a metered usage, but it's really crazy inexpensive. Like, hundreds and hundreds of words are like 2 cents or something crazy. It's very, very cheap, but you do pay for it. It is metered. Okay. All right, next on our list, this one's pretty cool. This is called Extend Search Block from Webman Design. So Extend Search Block. Have you ever created, for example, a page that's maybe an archive page for a custom post type, or a place where a bunch of custom post type posts are there, or it's a section of the website that's related to this certain thing in a custom post type? And gosh, wouldn't it be great to have a search block on that page that only searches that custom post type, for example? And so that is super helpful to have. And there's a number of plugins that will do that, like Relevancy, for example, is a long time plugin. And there's others like it that you can restrict the search to only a particular area of the website, a content area. But that's a huge plugin. This actually is a block that uses the standard built-in WordPress search function. But on the settings of that block, you can say only search this area. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go down to Extend Search Block. And I think I have a page for this. No, I didn't. But we'll just go back into this automatic TOC, because I have a column over here that we'll use. All right, let's delete some of this over here. Let's delete this. And over here, let's just put a standard WordPress search block. Oh, wait. I think I didn't activate the plugin. Let's just go ahead and add our search block and then update it. And let me go activate the plugin. Extend search block. Oh, no, I did activate it. Okay, good. So now when we look at this block, this search block, over here, look, we have an search modifiers. So now I can say only search the characters custom post type, or only search products, or I want, maybe this, this WP Nathan, the content is, the Marvel universe. Let's only have this search characters and movies, right? And I'm holding down my command on Mac, or Control for Windows, to select multiple post types. Or I want the search results to be from characters and movies with only certain tags, for example, or whatever. So like you can, there's the right there, and you can update. And now this search block only searches those areas of the site that you specify. So it's not going to match pages or posts. It's only those post types that you suggested. Isn't that cool? So this could be really useful for creating little sub areas of the site where, especially if you have custom post types or specialized content, really, really cool. So that is called Extend Search Block. And again, just using the standard WordPress search block and giving these extensions over here for search modifiers. Any questions or comments on that one? Okie dokie. Next up, We've done a few plugins like this, but I really like this one. It is called WP Online Active Users. So we had an office hours question not too long ago about, how can I see what, who's online, like on a membership site? How can I tell if any of my users are online? Well, this plugin will do that. Let me activate WP, what's it called? WP Online Active Users. Well, where is it? Online Active Users. That's what it's called here. All right, so now a few things are happening. Look, up here in our admin menu, we have one active user. And if we click on that, it takes us to our user page and we can see that this person's offline, this person's offline. Oh, but look, I'm online. Green dot, pretty cool. Also, here on the dashboard, I have a widget that shows you have 3 users and 1 is currently active. And we can click that and go to our users page and see who they are. But it will also give us a short code, which I neglected to put on the handout because I'm awesome. Right there, Webby Active User. So if we put this on the front end of the site, well, I'll just show you what it looks like. It looks like this. Now, they're very opinionated about the styling here. It is green like this. I would probably change that. Just, if you have a community site, currently active users, so many, right? It doesn't show you who, but it shows you the count of users that is online. So very simple plugin, pretty cool. These are users that are actively engaging with the site. I don't know what the timeout is on how long a person has to be inactive in order to be considered not counted anymore. I don't know. But yeah, pretty cool plugin that will let you see who's online. So any questions or comments on that one? That is WP Online Active Users. All righty. Last but certainly not least is a plugin called PZ Front End Manager. Now, from time to time, it might be helpful for, especially if you have a non-technical client, to give that client access to just a sliver of the WordPress admin features in a less confusing format than the WordPress admin area is. And that's what this does. This plugin will actually take the just a small segment, post management, for post and user management, and it brings it out to the front end of the site. Let me show you how this works. There is a login that's required, but it has its own little friendly login process. It's actually a pretty decent UI. Let's activate this. And as you see here, you can get to the dashboard at domain.com/dashboard. Now I'm going to open up a new incognito window here. And here's what the login page looks like. Now, that login page, you can control. Let's see, where is the settings for this? I've forgotten where the settings are. Oh, no, I have to go to the actual page itself when I'm logged in. There are no backend settings for this. Okay, so here's the dashboard if I'm logged in. And down here, I have a settings area where I can control. Here's the logo that appears right here. Here's the background image that appears right here. I can set my colors and so forth. We can do some basic things like, do I want to let people register? What's the default user role? Just so some of the basic functions of the admin area out here. I can change the user activation email that goes out. So it's a simple user management group of functions that's there for on the front end. But I can also go in here and manage my posts. And so right here, I'm outside the WordPress admin area, and I can't control the permalink here, but I can control the title I have, if you're using the block editor, this won't work, but I have the post content here. I've got excerpt. I've got, some publishing abilities. I've got categories, featured image, the author, any tags. So it's a very basic access to the post features. And I can also go through and look at all of the author users that have access to this dashboard. There's a log out here. I have my own profile that I can edit, and that's it. So it brings just some basic features. I can set my password here. Like a very basic admin dashboard to the front end of the website. And that is PZ Front End Manager. Questions or comments on that one? Does it allow custom post types? No. Matter of fact, it doesn't even do pages. This is just for posts. So this is an ideal situation for a non-technical client, for example, that only needs this for blogging. And so, they have access to blog right there, and, you're good to go. Also, you can turn off areas. I meant to show this earlier. Let's see, right here. There's capabilities. So if you have a client, for example, that you have set as an editor, you can turn on and off things about this dashboard. So if we don't want them to manage all they can do is manage posts, we can toggle off all those abilities so that they don't see any of that. So all they can do when they get here is manage posts. So if you have a client that only wants to blog, this is a great way to give them access to the post interface using the classic editor and, completely outside of the WordPress admin. Pretty cool. All right, any other comments, questions about this one? PZ Front End Manager. All right, it is straight up 2 o'clock. We finished just in time. Plugin Roundup is now complete for May 2023, which brings us to the question we always end with, which was, what is your favorite plugin of the day? One vote only, please. Chris, of course, has the DOS dialog. Couple of votes for Front End Manager. Disable coupons, file manager, the file organizer, several for that one. Sue likes the one that didn't work. Thank you, Sue. Sympathy vote. File size, file manager. Bytecode snippet, not officially a plugin. All right, so I think the file manager plugin is number one, with the front end manager as a number two, looks like. And also media library file size as a number three. There's a whole lot of votes for the DOS dialog too. So we'll have to count those up when it comes time. Now, the reason we do these votes, and next month will be the best of, every 6 months, we do a best of plugin roundup. If you're new to the plugin roundup, every 6 months we do a best of. We tabulate the votes, and it's the second week of June, I believe. It's on the schedule now, where we go back and do the best of the best, all the top votes, to show, just to remind us. A lot of times in these best of roundups, we're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that plugin. So just a recap of the last 6 months' favorite plugins of each of those roundups. So that's it. We are going to wrap up for today. Let me just, if you were late coming in today, let me remind you that no webinar tomorrow. If you're a member, there's office hours on Thursday as usual, but we just scheduled this webinar with Beth Livingston 1 week from today, talking about the future of project management using ChatGPT alongside your project management process. She's going to be talking about assisting with proposal creation, project plans, discovery, and functionality requirements in creating all those little bits of the project management process using ChatGPT. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That is a free webinar. I'm going to, it's here in the link bundle, which I'm going to drop in one more time for you there in the chat. Register for that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll have the replay of this up in about an hour, along with all the chat log and the transcript. Well, thanks for hanging out with me for the last hour. Hopefully you had some fun and picked up a couple of interesting tools. I'll see you back, members, see you back here on Thursday for office hours here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.